Welcome to the Freelance Drive. Here we talk with skilled freelancers about their professional journey. Stay tuned for real-life experiences to learn and actionable steps to take to improve your freelancing career. My name is Yuri. I'm a community builder at Code Control and 9am.works, and my guest is Kaja Storbeck, a recruitment consultant who brings skilled people together to progress in the short and long term and build an amazing future of work together. And today we'll discuss how freelancers can stand out with a CV and present themselves better in an interview. So, welcome, Kaja.
Thank you so much for the invite. I got really excited when you texted me, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I checked your LinkedIn journey. You are doing pretty great in the freelance world, and I definitely have wisdom to share. So, let's talk. Do freelancers still need CVs?
Perfect question to get right into it, I would say. Maybe a little bit to myself first. I have been in the freelance industry for quite a while now. And I'm also a freelancer myself, next to my full-time job, actually. But in my full-time job, I'm a full-time recruitment consultant, as you perfectly said in the introduction. And to answer your question, in my point of view, yes, they do definitely need a CV, because right now we're not talking about full-time employments. We are talking about freelancers. So basically what we say, it's like your business card, which you present yourself with, right? And in freelance business, people and clients especially, they look closely to your hard skills, right? Because soft skills is more for employments or like very high level positions, of course. But for freelancers that are supposed to get into the project and get started right away, and it's like a project with deadlines, we need to have hard skills, which the client is really taking a look at. And this is, in your CV. That's where we should find it.
It's interesting because I've never thought about this. And I wanted to ask you, how should freelancers structure their CV differently from full-time employees? Like what is the main difference of freelancer CV?
A freelancer should really focus on hard skills, as I said. And, there's some mistakes that people do in freelancing. I mean, I have seen a bunch of CVs by now, and really a lot crazy CVs with a lot of colors, and you cannot read like anything, because the colors doesn't match, or, like a bunch. And so my tips to really have a structured CV. So really start with what are you doing currently, or what was the last project, what you've done. I know some people, they start with what they've done in preschool, high school, and then 1975, I've been starting my first job and stuff. This is not what I want to see. At first, right? I want to see your first or last project that you've been working in, and then like the top 3 projects really stand out. What have you been focused on? Where have you improved your skills? And then really also focus on hard skills, right? As I said, like in full-time employment, of course, it's also a lot about soft skills, but in freelance, it's really about hard skills. So my tip there is also to focus on, measurable insights. Like, for example, if you're a high-level project manager, how many people have you managed in your past? Play with those numbers. Give me those numbers, because I want to know, and the client, of course, needs to know. Or how much of a budget have you been dealing with? What was your responsibility? Like all these facts and measurable insights, they belong into your CV, and that's really important also to stick out.
Sounds like the more numbers, the better.
The better, yes.
When you were saying about having some weird CVs, you reminded me of the episode we had with Björn Brandt, and he told, if you are in Germany, please don't do a CV on a black phone with a white text, because some people still print it out and they will hate you. I still remember it, and I'm like, oh my God, yes, I can imagine how like they're printing out this CV. But I feel like that's a part of the point that you were also talking about. And if you have like one job application and you received 5 different CVs and you have all the things that you're looking for, you have like less projects, you have all the numbers, you have hard skills, how freelancers can stand out? What makes you to choose a specific person out of these 5 people?
So first, it's about the format, right? We have like a saying in German that you say something like the eye also eats, you know? So it needs to be like very clear, very like important things need to be highlighted. They need to stand out, right? It needs to be really like the readability, right? It needs to be nice. And as I said, like with the colors, it shouldn't be a mess. There should be maybe a nice like picture of you, not in a hoodie, but like, you know, very like clean and clear and friendly, smiling, like that. And also, what really helps, what we see in our service as well, is if you work with testimonials or references, right? That's what we also do. Like, if a freelancer doesn't have a reference yet, it's our service to go back to the previous project and to get one for him or her. And this really helps, and we see it a lot, right? Because if it's like a project, a similar project, and we go to this client and ask for a reference and really place it with this application to the new client is able to really see, okay, he or she has done the same thing in the previous project, the client was really happy, you know, then it can really help to stick out.
And how to add this testimonial? So is it just a text with the person names and their phone number? How to add it into CV?
It can be multiple ways. I mean, we, as a recruitment company, we do have like our template, right, where we fill it out, and we do this for freelancers, right? So if you're a
Okay.
freelancer, of course, you can reach out and we will do the service for you. Other ways are also possible. For example, if you know, you have a project ending. By the end of the project, you tell your project management or the project leader, hey, you know, how did you like my work? Can you please give me a couple of words, you know, of what you liked and how I worked and a little bit of feedback. So this can be via email or WhatsApp. You can also do like a screenshot, or there's also an option on LinkedIn to recommendations to each other. So of course that also helps a lot.
Yeah, it's something that I always tell onto freelancers that no matter how shy you are, if you finished working, go to your clients and send them recommendation requests on LinkedIn and kindly ask them to write some words for you, because that's exactly what people are paying attention to afterwards. And also, I'm curious, should freelancers tailor their CVs for each application, or is it okay to apply for every job with the same CV?
I would say it doesn't hurt anyone if you, you know, change. For example, what we do is we really pay attention to keywords, right? Because the job description are always a little bit different, and everyone uses a couple of different keywords. So if there is a keyword in there that the client always uses and doesn't find in your CV, of course that's a problem, right? So I always suggest to my freelancers, hey, can you please adjust that and really edit also the terms that the client is using from his job description so it just matches better, you know?
Yeah, it feels like you just read a job description and basically add everything in the same language as they wrote it. So
Yeah,
basically, when they read, oh my God, it's like the best fit. It's like exactly what we are looking for. And
yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't have to change your whole CV, right? But it's like sometimes really it's about these small changes, about the small keywords and terms, you know, that can change already a lot.
I know that there are some automated screening systems currently, and sometimes you have to adjust your CV, as you've said, use some keywords to pass through them. So, how can freelancers do it? What should they do to pass these automated screening systems?
The automated screening systems, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of those. I mean, it depends, definitely. But to stick out is to really, you know, get to know the client and maybe reach them out on different channels. For example, we just talked about LinkedIn, just connect with them and say like, hey, I'm excited. I just forwarded you my application. Like try to build maybe like a personal connection to the person who is looking for someone, right? And to really make you stand out. But also, as I said, like formatting is really important. It's important that it's very clean and clear. Testimonials are very important to stick out with the key terms, so that the screening AI, of course, they're also looking for the matching terms, so that the screening AI is also checking, okay, wow, he or she got a lot of keywords which are very similar. So of course you will be passed automatically into, the next round, or however they have set it up.
You just talked about LinkedIn, and when I meet new freelancers, I always try to connect with them on LinkedIn and see like what's happening, because I understand that like for me personally, having a profile or having a CV, it's not enough. So LinkedIn is more like a real proof that you are a real person, that you are doing the things, that you are communicating with people. But still, it's not for everyone. So many freelancers do not know how to be active. They don't really have a lot of time to support conversations on LinkedIn. So from your recruitment side, how important to have an active LinkedIn profile for freelancers?
I would say nowadays, and especially like in the current market situation where we are right now, it's more important than ever, right? Because as I said, you have to stick out, you have to keep up with like, all these platforms and everything, because us as a recruiter, we work with LinkedIn a lot. But I also know, because I have been internal HR before, so I also know that the whole HR bubble is also working with LinkedIn, right? We actively look on LinkedIn, whether it's full-time employment or freelancers. But now focusing on freelancers, also those are looked for on LinkedIn. And if your profile, of course, is clean and clear, and you have, I don't know, you talk a little bit about yourself, you do like personal branding, or you have good recommendations from a client, of course, that is so important and it sticks out. And it's just nowadays so important. And I have myself found a lot of freelancers so far for my clients via LinkedIn. They have
Okay.
been because we also have like a huge data system where our freelancers are listed in there, and we call them and we check on them if we have like a good fitting project. But there's also a couple of them, of course, that are not in our data system, and I have found them on LinkedIn, reached out to them, and they have been placed into a project.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's more important than ever.
You talked before about the importance of soft skills for full-time employees and importance of hard skills for freelancers. So what is the difference? What's going on? Okay, let's imagine like you passed the automated screening system, you passed their CV, and you get on a call, on an interview. So how can freelancers effectively communicate and share and kind of like justify their value and experience during an interview?
If you talk about your outcome, that's so important, because most of the freelancers are placed into a project if there is like a problem, right? We have a deadline, or we need to, I don't know, cut costs or get something achieved, right? There is a goal which we need to achieve, so we need to have like an expert to place into the project and to get it done. Something like that. That's 90% of the time is where freelancers are needed.
Yeah.
And so whenever there is, so if I would suggest for a freelancer to always go into an interview and be like, hey, this was the problem in my previous project. This was my solution. This was with my skills. This is what I was able to achieve. This is the outcome. And really to walk them through what you have done for the company. And of course, if you have numbers for it, even better. And really place it and talk them through your way, how you have solved this problem or achieved a better result than there was before.
Talking about the rates, are you talking about the rates during the interview or before the interview as a freelancer?
So I mean, I as a freelancer, you mean, or as a recruitment consultant?
I mean, like when a freelancer talking about their rates, like
Mm,
from your perspective, from your professional, and maybe even from your freelancer perspective,
yeah.
what is the best time to talk about rates?
Before you go into interviews. That's my personal experience because you have to be clear on both sides, right? Like imagine you go in there and say, "Hey, let's just check." And you go into interview and some people also have like 2 or 3 interview rounds, some clients, they have like a little bit longer procedures if it's like a huge position or a high level position or a huge project. Imagine after the second or third interview, it says like, "Oh, you're way out of budget. We cannot,
Yeah.
we cannot deal with that. I'm so sorry." So both sides have been wasting time and a lot of time, which we most of the time don't have when it comes to freelancing. So it's important to really be transparent, be open, and talk about the rates from the first moment on.
Let's imagine that you are going through the first round of interview and hopefully it's like the first and the last, but as you've said, sometimes there is a second, a third round. And I believe, I don't really know how exactly it works, but I believe that recruiters somehow choose who is better to go to the next round or who is better to choose. So is there something that freelancers can do? Maybe there is some kind of a way to follow up, to give an extra value after the interview to ensure and to increase their chances of getting hired.
So always, one option you can do, as I said on LinkedIn, connect with them or via email. Just say like, "Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciated your time. I do have interest, So really show them that you are interested. And if they have something left, for example, they are asking for your certification or anything else, really respond within the next minutes and not, "Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow morning," or something. It's a very fast living business and there's a lot of freelancers out there, so you really have to stick out and really do what you are saying you want to do and not just do it in a couple of days or something. Really stick to that.
Yeah, I feel like that's exactly what freelancers are missing out. They sometimes forget that as a freelancer, your position is filled sometimes within a day.
Yeah.
And if you receive this request, it's better than you answer right away because if you want to answer, someone else will answer. And yeah, I totally, and it's really, really very important. So, from your experience as a recruiter, what is one thing freelancers can start doing right now to increase their chances to get hired in the future?
If you do not have a LinkedIn account, create one right now. Fill it with a lot of data, hard skills, measurable insights, and also do it on your CV, right? Start to build your network. Network is so important, especially in those times we're in right now. Because there are jobs out there, but it's about now it's like the time, okay, who stands out, who knows who, and it's like get out there and get to know people, go on live events. It's even better because you meet people in person, which is also so good and important just to I don't know, to have like the personal touch to it.
Yeah.
So this is my suggestions for all the freelancers.
Also from building communities, I noticed that when people meet in person at least once, they're so much more willing to help each other on LinkedIn or in some community space. So if you don't know each other in real life, yeah, you might be like helpful, not helpful, depends. But if you know this person, you really want to help them more. So it's very crucial to have this at least one personal touch.
Exactly. One personal touch. That's, I also love that. I go on events at least 3 times a month. I try to, just because I feel like, an email can be deleted within seconds.
Yeah.
Or if you call them, it can be forgotten within a day. But if you talk to the person in real life and meet them and you have a good conversation, and you get along very well, and then after that to stay in touch, you just write an email or you connect on LinkedIn or something like that, it really sticks to the mind of the client or the person so much longer. So I can definitely recommend that.
I wish to have the sky as the limit, but time is the limit to our conversation. So the final question, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food is sushi.
Got it. Welcome to the sushi team. And yeah, what is the best way to connect with you?
On LinkedIn, you can find me there. So it's Kaja Storbeck. And on Instagram, I'm also active. So kaja.storbeck. You can text me there. Yeah, I'm always online.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, Kaya. And it's been such a pleasure to hear and learn from you.
Thank you so much. Had a great time here.
And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button and 5 stars and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.